I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Courtside Soundoff podcast. Once again, I'm Josh Evanoff. As always, welcome by the one and only man of the hour, too sweet to be sour. It is Angel Ortega. Brought to you by two fantastic sponsors of the show today. Rogue Energy. We got some Rogue Energy right here, boys. Code Soundoff. Check out all caps. Code Soundoff at checkout for 10% off. All the fantastic products got there. ELYXR though, more my flavor, admittedly. Delta 8. Some great Delta 8 products. Get them for code Soundoff, 10% off. And get really high with those. Have a fun time. I was enjoying some Delta 8s on Saturday night because it was UFC 305 going down from down under the RAC Arena in Perth, Australia. Look, going into it, man. Should cut straight into it, brother. Israel Adesanya losing by 4th round submission. Now, well, let's be honest here. We all have our boys in this sport. Israel Adesanya is your boy.
One of them.
One of your boys. Comes out, and I thought through 4 rounds, or going into the 4th round, I guess I should say, looked a lot sloppy, a lot slower, but was largely outlanding DDP, had the success on the feet. I had him up 2-1.
Same.
Granted, we later found out that he was actually down on the cards, which was wild.
Threw me off a little bit. But
Threw me
hey,
off,
you know, it is what it is.
Close fight.
At the end of the day, you know, the result that happened.
Still,
So
though, DDP, halfway through the round, 3:38 of round 4, lands a 3-punch combination. Drags Izzy down, gets to the back, which he had gotten to in the first round as well. This time, he sinks in the rear naked choke. And still, can you believe that the dude who was getting 1-2 to death by Darren Till just 2 years ago now has defeated Robert Whittaker, Sean Strickland, and now the great Israel Adesanya at 185 pounds?
like I said, man, a lot of people didn't know. They didn't understand the kind of talent this kid brought. I sounded like Dana there, you know?
Yeah.
This kid, man, let me tell you.
This kid is pound for pound number 1, okay?
But
Shout out John Jones.
But yeah, no, and it's nice, you know. It's nice to see the progression and kind of where he's at now, especially because the resume he's built up is pretty damn good on fucking paper now, Josh. I mean, last 3 wins are former champions, all Sean Strickland, Israel Adesanya, Robert Whittaker. I mean, that and it is there. He could lose his next 3 fights, and no matter what, he still has that immortalized in his record for until the end of time, you know.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how far he could take it, man. I mean, this guy's 30 years old, just turned 30 years and turned 31 next year. And he has seemingly found his comfort and knows who he is. And potentially we could be looking at a pretty interesting run. I think he's still very beatable. He doesn't give me that, because, you know, sometimes you get some of those guys that kind of have like, dude, I don't know who's going to stop this guy, and I don't know when.
Yeah.
But for him, we've seen it. He's had close fights. He's had a battle with some adversity. I mean, that's how it is. That's how the sport is. Even in this Izzy fight, I mean, he kind of. I mean, I thought, dude, I don't remember if it was the third. I think it had him in the 3rd round. Those body kicks and just everything to the body seemed like it was adding up, Josh.
Yeah.
And I kind of got thinking, like, is this going to be the beginning of the end here? And then it not being, but I was like, all right, this is interesting. You know, I'd seen him get touched and tagged in other fights, but this guy has some sick composure, man. And when he is tired, somehow, still some way, he's still coming forward, putting on pressure.
Yeah.
I mean, credit where credit is due. I mean, for the former champion, I mean, I think like you said there, he seemed a little slower. You know, it just seems like you know, time is happening. Like the body's kind of taking its course.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't necessarily slow, but he just wasn't as fast as he was.
Yeah. Slower. You know,
yeah. I think physically he looked great.
Yeah.
I think he was in you know, top tier shape. Just in the fight, you know, mistakes were made and inevitably it led to that submission. Finally, someone was able to get Israel Adesanya's back and finally finally get the submission that multiple people had been chasing. I mean, just obviously it sounded a little sad, but it is what it is, man. This is good for the sport. It's a positive thing. It's not negative.
Afterwards too.
No, they were respectful afterwards. The only weird thing is for Dricus, I kind of feel weird because like I don't kind of fully know what direction he's gonna go now.
Yeah.
Like obviously the Robert Whittaker Chimaev fight is happening, but if Rob wins, like, yeah, you could do Robert Whittaker. For some reason, I'm not like satisfied as that as a next fight. They could do the Strickland fight, but that doesn't seem fully correct with me either.
They kind of, I don't want to say they booked themselves into a corner. I just think 185 is a division that hasn't really, there's not a lot of new blood in it.
It's bottlenecked at the top.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, we have all the top contenders, and those guys, just keep on fighting each other over and over and over. I do think, I hate to say it, I want new blood. I would have really liked to see them not book Chimaev against Whittaker and then just give Chimaev the title shot, honestly. I hate to say it, but just because we've already seen DDP fight both these guys, and it wasn't like it was just, you know what I mean? Like, he beat Whittaker a year ago. He beat Strickland in January. We really need to rerun these fights that quickly,
They'll be there. I think that's the other thing that
they'll be there. And I think if Whittaker beats Chimaev, you got to give him the shot. You can't not do that. And if same thing for Chimaev. If Chimaev beats Whittaker, you have to give him the shot against the winner of DDP Strickland, which DDP Strickland, admittedly, I don't want to say I have no interest in because the fight was good the first time around. I'm not that excited for it, though, because we just saw it.
We've talked about it several times. I think the issue with 185 there for a while there wasn't any young prospects. Finally, we kind of got those guys coming in, but we need the push to start happening, and it is happening. We'll be talking about this with Kyle Barelio, this weekend's main event.
Yep,
He's one of the guys who could potentially break through and get into the mix now. We got Fluffy Fernandez. We got Bo Nickel, who, I think he's still a while from there, just because he's only had one fight this year.
Yep.
Doesn't sound like another one's coming up soon either.
He said, according to what he said he's fighting MSG.
So, but
no opponent.
No opponent yet announced. So
he actually said, Darren Till said he wants to come back to the UFC so he can earn a fight against DDP. And Bo Nickel said, all right, I'll fight Darren Till if he comes back. And I'm like, you know what? Book that. I'm for real. Why not?
No, yeah.
If Darren Till really wants to come back, Bo Nickel needs a name. Although, Darren's not even ranked, so it kind of, he'll still need to get some more after that one. Fuck it. Who cares?
I'm curious to see how long Dricus can do this, man.
Yeah, I agree with you. Because he really is just, he goes in, every DDP fight goes the exact fucking same. Goes in, attacks people like he's a Resident Evil zombie. Just fucking swinging at him, right? Gas out. Number 3. Number 4. Number 5. Win. That's every DDP fight. Just goes in. There was one point where he got hit to the body and he literally slobbered all over himself and just fucking jumped at Izzy like he was a fucking zombie, dude. And then that was round 3 and he ends up getting the win. Dude,
all he knew was attack.
Dude, he's the most, I just can't believe this guy's champion. And I don't mean that in a bad way because I like the guy a lot. He's really funny. He's charismatic. Every single one of the fights are a banger.
Yeah,
but he's just
that's not even an exaggeration.
No,
I think literally every UFC and even prior to the UFC, every Dricus du Plessis fight, no bullshit, no exaggeration, has been fun.
Very fun. And they're all so weird too, dude. The Derek Brunson one's the one I think of probably the most.
Dude, Brad Tavares.
That's another one.
They slugged it out.
Brad Tavares rocked his shit.
Brad Tavares wasn't that far from winning that fight.
No. That's the thing. DDP is a coin flip away from being 0-6 in the UFC in every single one of his fights. But yet he's somehow
Darren
6-0.
Till put in some work against DDP.
Darren Till was up on the cards, man. If Darren Till doesn't get submitted in the last 2 minutes of that fight, he fucking wins it. Darren Till.
Think about how different history goes.
Darren Till's boxing on the undercard of Social Knockout 3 now. That guy
just what are we doing out here,
That
man?
guy nearly beat DDP. Very close. Although, to be fair, everybody had the only guy who actually, when you think
another
about it,
crazy thing that could have happened along the way, dude. He was supposed to fight Fluffy Hernandez. I'm not saying he wins that fight, but look at the trajectory of how Fluffy's career's gone. Look at the trajectory of Dricus. Those guys almost clashed midway.
knowing Dricus, he'd somehow find a way to get a sub on Fluffy.
Oh, dude, no, who knows, dude? Fluffy has great gas, so maybe Fluffy would have turned it up, and
maybe he'd be the one guy to capitalize on DDP. Breathing out of his mouth and looked like he's dying in there. I remember after he beat Till, he was like, yeah, actually, I was getting 10% of oxygen or some shit through my nose. And then it's like, all right. And then he got the surgery and he still gasses out in every single one of his fights. I'm like, man, maybe that's just a gas tank.
I will say I got to eat a little crow, Josh. I was bold on my prediction last week, but I had to build it up. I had to hype up my boy.
Dude, I don't even blame you. Because, dude, I don't think either one of us were prepared for the fact that DDP, we got to give credit here, stick to that fucking game plan. He stuck to the game plan the entire time. And his hands were glued to his fucking face up here, dude. They were glued up here. Even whenever
I will say, I'm not gonna lie. I wish Izzy would have thrown a lot more leg kicks. Like there wasn't many leg kicks thrown in that fight. Like specifically to attack the leg.
Yeah, almost not.
As I say, I feel like that was kind of a missed opportunity there. I think he should have had him like having the guard move a lot more. Go go to the legs, go to the body. Go high, go low.
And he did go to the body.
Hey, he did go to the body, yes. But I do kind of wish there was on top of just trying to like obviously drain the body itself. Mm-hmm. Kill the legs. Like literally chop down the tree.
Yeah, which makes sense. And as far as Izzy goes, I mean, just kind of wrap up on him. Not a bad performance, not at all. I mean,
no.
And he even came out with this video yesterday where he kind of talked about his future and he talked about the fight. And he's like, "Look, I felt good in there. I felt good. I thought I performed well. I just, I messed up, and that happens. And I feel like I could fight tomorrow if I want. Like I feel that good.
Yeah.
And
we got to talk about him now. I mean, that's a whole conversation now itself. I mean, we're just spending quite a while on this fight, but it's just because once again, when fights have meaning and there's importance behind them, there's a lot to talk about. It gives it gives you a reason to watch and kind of keep looking forward. But I mean, the state of his career going forward, I'm not quite sure what direction he's going to go. I mean, I know it doesn't sound like he's done. I do think. And we talked about this not this week, but last week privately. We were kind of like, I think no matter what, he is in the final stages of his career, whatever that means. I don't know yet. Mm-hmm. And I think in the meantime, I think he's gonna try to do like fun fights. You know what I mean? Not necessarily like like if he gets the title, he gets the title, but he's gonna try to fight like, he'll probably rematch or maybe rematch Sean Strickland, maybe rematch Robert Whittaker. I'm not sure.
Paulo Costa.
I'm not sure. Like right now, I don't know like exactly what the next move is. You know what I mean? Like if he had to think about like what their plan is for Israel Adesanya 2025, because we know it's not going to happen this year. Like what is it? I mean, he could come back and fight in December.
I think that at this point, Izzy, 35 years old, turning 36 soon. There's only so much he really can do. I don't think. Could he fight for a title again? I'm not going to say no.
Oh no, we saw that he can,
especially if he moves up to light heavyweight. At light heavyweight, guys, people are acting like Izzy's 45, George Foreman shit. You know what I mean? Like he's 35. We saw Glover win the title at 42 just less than 2 years ago. You know what I mean? So if he moves up to light heavyweight, I think he could contend. And honestly, that's what I would say next for him. Izzy, brother, if you want to fight a couple times at 185, I wouldn't hate you. I wouldn't blame you. Do some fun stuff. I think light heavyweight's the time, man. I think
maybe get back one in at 85 and then maybe start working on the body for 205. Build himself up.
Yeah.
Get a big 205 fight. Well, and I mean, as long as Poaton's champion, I mean, he has pretty much a guaranteed title shot.
If he can get past like one guy,
basically one guy. I suggested a Blachowicz rematch. People have thrown the Yuri Prochazka fight out there. But it sounds like there's been, obviously, Yuri kind of put out there potentially 185 as a choice for him. But if it isn't, though, 205, 205 for Izzy against Prochazka. I mean, there's options, but the thing is we as viewers, we don't know what the path is going to be.
Yeah, it ultimately comes down to how does he want to go about this, though, I think.
How he's going to close out his career, because that's what it really is.
If he wants to make a title run, but he wants to do it like cautiously, I'd say, how about this? Izzy, fight a guy like Johnny Walker. Fight a guy like the winner of Anthony Smith, Dominic Reyes. That'll be somewhere around number 8, number 9. If you want to accelerate to a title shot, then you're going to fight Yuri at light heavyweight.
I was going to say, if he wants to start
Yuri or I'd say Jamal Hill, but they train together. So I'd say either Yuri or maybe Volkan Oezdemir, number 6, coming off a couple big knockout wins. Something like that.
It could also revive his fire, because it'll be a new challenge. That's another thing we didn't really mention. But it kind of seems like after that loss, he seemed not to say it in a negative way, but he's kind of complacent.
Yeah, which is rare.
Like he was okay with the result. Obviously, it's not what he wanted, but he was like, this happened, so on and so forth. We'll move on. Life goes forward. Yeah, he got the best of me. It is what it is. So that's another kind of it's not necessarily a red flag, but it's kind of a showing like, okay, like we're kind of at that part of the career now. Kind of like how Dustin Poirier has kind of been talking. Funny enough, in his case, like the last 3 years.
Yeah.
It feels not really the last year or two, but like it feels like really the last 3 to 2 years.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I'm curious to see how he closes out his career. I hope it goes out good. He's one of those guys that will definitely go out on his terms, not someone else's. So never worried about that. I don't think he'll stick around too long.
He's not going to pull a Tony Ferguson.
No chance.
He has too much respect for his own legacy to do that.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm excited to see whatever is next for the Style Bender. Oh my God! By the way, speaking about that, did you see that clip of that kid at Buffalo Wild Wings?
No.
He was like, "Come on, Izzy, Style Bend it."
No, I didn't see that. No.
Yeah, no bullshit. Him and his homies, they look like they're probably high school, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
And this buddy's like taking a Snapchat at the Buffalo Wild Wings, showing the screen. Yeah. And then all you hear in the background is, "Come on, Izzy, Style Bend it." And they're like, "What the
fuck?" That's hilarious. Yeah. Well, look.
I'm so sad you didn't see that.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Well, look, Izzy.
Piece of shit. No, I'm
know, right? What an asshole, dude. Yeah. Why didn't I see that one Snapchat? Yeah, I mean, it just kind of wrap up. I thought Izzy looked good for the layoff and all that stuff. And again, to lose a guy like Dricus, no shame in it. And for Dricus, what a win for his legacy. And for all around, even though Izzy lost, and I'm an Izzy fan, I didn't feel that bad about it. I was like, you know what? It was a good performance, and he got caught. Shit happens. It was an even fight. It is what it is. And we'll see what happens next for both those guys. Very excited. Man, fuck, I hated this co-main event. Fuck, I hated this co-main event.
It broke your heart.
Broke my heart. Not even because of the fact that our boy, the Astro boy, Steve Ortega lost. It was how he lost. He gets clipped, dropped, stopped inside of a round by KKF. KKF getting on the mic. Says he wants that title shot next.
Respect.
I don't think he should get it, but what do you think about his win over Steve Ortega?
I mean, it was a great victory, man. No, there's not much to say. He got the finish, especially over the former title challenger. Now, for Steve Rosick, man, I don't think I mentioned it really on the show or anything, but like looking back at it in hindsight, this is probably too quick of a turnaround.
Yeah.
For a fight that it was a bang out, drag out man against the champ, 5 rounds, brutal, on enemy soil. I gotta imagine like maybe a little bit of that damage is still worn. Yeah. I don't necessarily think it changed the result of the fight, but I do think it obviously didn't help.
No.
Probably.
No.
And then, look, like I said.
It was a gamble because if he goes out there and beats a guy like KKF.
He's right. He stays in the...
He might even got a title shot. Fuck, dude.
I don't even know what it, but he carries that kind of... the little train he was carrying because credit to him, like, coming off of that Pantoja loss, like... He gained stock.
Yeah, it was a star-making performance for Steve Ortega.
Yeah, and look, I don't know if it's a possibility that he over-exceeded like all our expectations and outperformed even what he's capable of in that one fight. Hopefully not, because he's a fun guy, man. I really do hope it wasn't just the Pantoja fight that, like I said, he for some reason as a human being reached his highest possible ceiling and gave that performance. And then he'll never reach it again. I don't know. Yeah. I don't necessarily think that. I hope he didn't just peak. Like we've seen, guys different than Cody Garbrandt, a little different. Yeah. His carried a little longer.
Yeah. And it should happen. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, man, just an unfortunate night for him, honestly. And I hope that he does keep that same level of, I don't want to say hype, but stay at that same level that we thought
that fan interest.
Yeah, even prior to the Pantoja fight, we really thought he was the next big thing. It's like, oh shit, now he's getting a title shot. That's what surprised us.
Yeah.
Just how
by the way,
but we knew he was good.
We also need to talk about the saddest meetup in MMA history afterwards,
dude. I'm happy you brought that up, brother. Did you see?
The reason I bring it up is because people posted. I saw a picture posted of Ortega afterwards.
Yes,
and he seemed like a good sport about it. But then someone underneath on the comments. Or in the reply to the tweet, and was like, they were like, "Yeah, man, I gotta shout out him, credit to him for obviously showing up because he obviously made the commitment to be there.
Exactly, he was there,
regardless of the result." And they were like, he seemed to, you could tell he was obviously upset, obviously.
Yeah,
but it's just like, but we didn't really explain it, but
so
go ahead.
I'll explain it. So UFC 305, there was an after party at a club in Perth. And that after party is supposed to have Tai Tuivasa, Steve Erceg, Casey O'Neill, Joshua Kulabau, and Junior Tafa. So in case you don't know, 4 of those 5 lost, multiple of which in brutal fashion. They had the after party anyway, I'm sure for contractual reasons. And I saw a video of the inside, and dude, it had the vibes of a fucking DMV.
I didn't see the video.
Dude, it was just one. It was a dude on the stage. It was a DJ on the stage just playing it, and some dude panned around, and just like there was nobody fucking there, dude. It was depressing. Apparently, everybody showed up though. Like all the fighters did, except for I think maybe it was Junior Taffa. I think.
Yeah, to go to the hospital.
Yeah, it was. I was one of those guys. I can't remember who exactly showed up, but Steve Erceg showed up. So we've also showed up. Could you imagine that? It's like a funeral.
Can you imagine if everybody showed up except Casey O'Neill?
You know, dude, she was out there like at the after party, like fucking, just like my bad, guys. Like I didn't know, like you know, like, she's kind of like feeling bad for celebrating. I'm sure, you know, she hit the fucking sprinkler in her fucking in her post fight celebration, dude. She was vibing, you know. You know, there weren't a whole lot of Aussie wins, honestly, on Saturday. But we got to give a shout out to our boy, the Hangman. I guess he's, you know, he's New Zealand again. But you get my point here.
Gonna get canceled, Josh.
You know, they can try.
You racist bastard.
You know, they can try, but I don't really give a shit. Close enough, because that's why they had him on this card anyway. The fan favorite, how about that? Dan Hooker defeating Mateusz Gamrot, massive upset, split decision win. The Hangman went out there, largely did most of the damage, I would say, although he got busted up himself in the first round. But then it was in that first round, in the final minute of it, that he rocked Gamrot badly, and it seemed like Gamrot was never really fully able to recover after getting dropped, and he was stopped by Hooker. He came back, rallied for the next 2 rounds. They put on a great fight. Fight of the night, 50K to each. In the end, though, Dan Hooker, huge win. And now, presumably, ranked number 5 at the lightweight division. All the talk. It took years for him to recover after all the losses, and he is back, 34 years old, ranked number 5. What'd you make of Dan Hooker on Saturday?
Dude, if this is a second awakening, holy shit.
Yeah.
You know, credit where credit is due. Who was his win before Jalen Turner? It was Nasrat. Never mind. It wasn't
Claudio Puelles, who was leg locking everybody.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah,
I lied.
Knocked him out or stopped.
The Nasrat fight was a little while back.
Yeah.
Regardless, though, people were split on this decision. I'm kind of curious to see what it is. I haven't rewatched the fight, but the night of, I felt like Gamrot won. It was a close fight. I wasn't upset about it. But it seems like it's a decent split in the community, right?
Yeah, 54-43 is a split. Is the split overall, and the rest is just like
leaning
draws.
which way?
For Gamrot. So it was pretty split.
Okay.
Personally for me, round 1 Gamrot. Obviously, I thought round 2 and 3 for Hooker. I think you can obviously make the case for round 2 for Gamrot. It was a close fight. Don't get me wrong.
Like I said,
Hooker won, but
yeah. The night of, I thought Gamrot, but like I said, I wasn't like shocked to hear the Hooker. This might be one I might have to rewatch just out of curiosity. But dude, he's back in the mix. Like I said, like actually back in the mix. Like he's due for a top 5 opponent, maybe a fight and a title shot potentially, depending on who he fights.
Yeah.
He's in the position to potentially rematch, you know, Dustin Poirier if he wants to. If Poirier wants to go that route for his fight. Obviously, the Justin Gaethje fight, the Oliveira fight, which is kind of the big one right now. That's heavily rumored. You know,
there's so many fights you can make.
I thought about that too. I thought about the Max Holloway fight, BMF out on the line. You know the vibes.
Yeah, man, fuck, dude. He really has brought it back. All those names, dude. Hearing Dan Hooker in the conversation with those names would have seemed like insanity.
Because it was dark. There were some dark times there for Dan Hooker, man. I thought it was. I was kind of over. Like once the story, like kind of the losses started piling up, and the double-digit losses hit.
Yeah, I mean,
I thought it was Jober, man. I genuinely thought that was the end, at least of probably a Dan Hooker run as a major contender. You know, I thought he'd stick around as. Yeah. I even thought he would struggle as a ranked fighter because it seemed like that. And granted, I think taking the Arnold Allen fight and moving to 145 was one of the biggest mistakes of his entire career.
Yeah, not even close.
I mean, in general, I think fighting at 45 was a mistake, anyways. But dude, it's so awesome.
Yeah,
like, this is the beauty of like this kind of sport, man. Like, shit like this can happen, man. Like dreams really do come true.
Yeah, I mean, to go from losing 4 of 5 from 2020 to late 2022 to turning around with a 3-5
and by the way, not even like those losses were
2 knockouts in there, three stoppage losses, 2 by knockout, 1 by submission, all of which came in the first round.
And even the Poirier one, let's be honest. I mean, it was a war. It was brutal on his body.
It was brutal fight.
Banger.
But then he lost to Arnold Allen at featherweight. He moved up, faced Claudio Puelles in a fight where we were like, fuck, dude, like this guy is hot. Coming in, submitting everybody. Hooker dominated him.
Took care of that.
Stopped him. Jalen Turner, hyped up prospect, knocking out everybody. Beats him by decision in a banger of a fight. And then beats Gamrot, who looked like...
He got the split. Credit to him. He's gone the split both times.
I thought the Jalen Turner fight wasn't that hard. Like, I thought for sure.
I thought he won that one, yeah.
This one definitely a lot closer, I thought.
But wait, Gammy, dude. Gammy himself, like, his hands were... I think his hands looked some of the best they ever did. I got to give him credit.
I fully agree with you.
His hands had never looked like that in his previous fights.
Look, dude, he was tuned... Yeah, I thought for sure, man. I thought it was over. He was tuning him up in the first.
I think if Gamrot gets his hands even more cleaned up than what they are now, I think he'd
be a future... I mean, I still think he'd be a future UFC champion.
Yeah, no matter what, put himself in the position to fight for a title. I mean, the guy's 33. He has one of the most important skill sets in the sport now. You know, and his losses, I mean, he lost his second or debut fight.
His debut to Guram, and then he lost to Beneil. No shame when Beneil was hot.
And then he lost a split to Dan Hooker that you could even argue that he won.
Yeah, no shame in that. And he'll come back, and we'll see what happens to him. Though, still just so happy for Dan Hooker. Shout out Dan Hooker coming out to Who I Smoke. What is it? Young Green Ace.
Jesus.
Shout out. They didn't know they listened to that down under, but shout out Dan Hooker, man. Love to see it.
Do you think he listens to Viking rowing music?
We gotta. We're gonna row this way. We're gonna go this way. Yeah, let's. Oh yeah, dude. Let's row. Come on, dude. Dumbest shit of all time. I didn't believe Luke Thomas when he said that until
I looked it up.
Dude, lamest shit of all time. If I ever was at a concert and some motherfuckers started rowing next to me, I would question every decision.
By the way, speaking about lame, dude, holy fuck, there was a egregious scorecard last night. So bad, Josh,
yes.
that the Australian...
They actually took the judge out back and killed him. No.
The Australian... what would you call it? Why am I for? What is it?
Commission.
The Australian Commission. Sports Commission, MMA Commission, whatever the fuck it's called.
30-27 Tuivasa over Jairzinho Rosenstrike was the scorecard. It was a decision win for Jairzinho Rosenstrike.
The right guy won the night. But
clean win, I thought for sure. 30-27. If you want to be decent, you could throw a tie, maybe round 3. But in the end, though, one judge, Howie Booth, which is not a real name, by the way. There's no fucking way this guy's real. Howie Booth.
Someone said he sounded like AI generated.
Howie Booth, who's judged... Fuck, dude, this guy's judged a handful of fights.
Can you look at that? He judged Blanchfield Santos. I'm actually curious. Can you look at that real quick? He judged at 29-28.
Yeah, 29-28.
Felder Barbosa up there, too.
So if you look at his entire record, he's actually done pretty okay, except he has 2 scorecards, which was Jairzinho against Tuivasa, which scored 30-27 for Tuivasa. This motherfucker also, UFC 242, Paul Felder, Edson Barboza, he scored that fight. 30-27 for Barboza. And although it seems like that was actually the only guy to score the fight for Barboza, but I mean, 30-27, pretty bad. So he only has 2. He's really not a bad judge if you look on paper, but this was just such a fucking terrible decision by
unless he fucked up, like he put his correct scorecard on the wrong name.
It's the only thing I can think of.
Unless he had a 30-27 Rosenstruck, which was completely fine because someone else scored at 30-27.
Yeah. But at that point, though, if you're really messing up the names that bad, you must be so incompetent they should pull you anyway.
I mean, this is insane. I wonder if they're gonna have a talk. Like, I'm curious to hear the conversation. Like, there has to be more here that has to be addressed. Like, granted, he got removed. Great, because
they needed. Yeah.
Was he? By the way, was he slated to score another fight? Because he did Sonkin on Ricky Glenn. He did this.
That's the thing. I don't know.
Because I think he might. Dude, I think he might have done the main event. I think he was. Yeah. I think he was gonna do the main event.
Now, granted,
it didn't matter.
Somebody had Now, granted, they had some guy who had DDP up 3-0 heading up into the. So they were already. Woo! There was something in the water out there, man. There was something
down
in the
under.
water.
What's going on?
Yeah, dude. Jesus, everything could kill you in Australia, even the judges. Yeah, man. Although good for Jairzinho actually pulling off the win here. Feel bad for Tuivasa. This was the first fight that really makes me think he's washed. Because the other fights you can excuse, right? Like he got caught by this guy. Even he was beating up Marcin Tybura until he got taken down and subbed. This one,
He threw down against Cyril Gahn.
this time, he didn't throw at all, really, which is always the number one sign of a washed fighter to me. If you're not going for it, that's how you know Tony Ferguson was at the end. You know, he just wouldn't go for it. You know, BJ Penn's another. They're gun shy. That's really what it is, and he looked gun shy out there, man. Yeah, if you want to be decent, you can throw him one round. Howie Booth threw him 3. So there we go. Opening up the main card, dude. This fight, it was depressing for me personally.
Carlos Prates is leading the Rookie of the Year conversation.
Not even close. Not even, dude.
Gene Silva was kind of the other one people argued.
Yeah, I'd give
He
it.
had a 2-week turnaround, but I still give it Carlos.
I got to give it to Carlos Prates because, man, it's one thing to beat the Leech. It's one thing to handle the Leech's first knockout loss. It's another way to do it like that.
Dude, that knockout it made me sad.
Which, by the way, not even close for a second. The Leech was getting tuned up from the word go in that first round.
It looked.
You know, he had a moment. He landed a
I
couple.
I don't know who it was, but I looked at Carlos Prates' record. He fought some other UFC guys in the past.
Yeah, I mean
There was a name in there that I like instantly was like, oh shit, he fought
the Nightmare. Taking Diego
Jake
Sanchez's
Paul.
fucking shut the fuck up, dude.
Jake Paul
Charles Radke, Trevin Giles,
You gotta go back
Ramirez.
into the loss.
He beat Charles Oliveira, Angel.
No, not
No, I mean,
No, that was one. He fought Dave Leduc, aka a Lethweight champion, Dave Leduc. If you guys know who that is,
yes, David Doak.
Go down, and then I could have sworn there was another name. Maybe it was just the Dave Leduc name that it was the one I saw that I was like, holy shit, he fought Dave Leduc. And Muay Thai though, I believe, not MMA.
And he beat a different Charles Oliveira, but still, this dude is just. He's unreal. I mean, that was a insane performance by him on Saturday. Like I said, it's one thing to beat Leech, but it's another to do it like that. I mean, that fight wasn't even...
Dude, another welterweight guy, by the way. What is with welterweight producing so many guys?
I don't know, man. And if you look at that welterweight division, still not ranked, but you got to imagine he's not far from it, you know?
No, after the beating the Leech. No, he might be due for a ranked opponent, actually, at the bottom of the division.
Yeah. Kevin Holland just got booked against somebody.
Oh, by the way, on his UFC contender contract.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So he's on his. I think he has. If it was a 4-fight deal, he only has one more before he has to resign.
Hopefully, he gets paid. Pay that man.
I'm sure. Maybe if his management's smart, they won't give him a ranked opponent in this type of fight. Yeah. They'll get him another guy who's kind of outside of the rankings. That seems like a good fight.
Get a Cody Brundage.
Just a quick one, quickie.
It's
always good to get a quickie if you know what I mean. And then, then he's either resign, make more money, and then fight a ranked guy.
Yeah, I agree. I think they definitely get him a lower tier guy at 170 to go ahead and face.
But speaking about unranked guys, Josh.
Yeah.
Junior Tough of Walter Walker. Walter Walker, dude. Hey. Initially, though, it wasn't looking too good.
No, but hey, man, that's kind of like Johnny Walker, too, though. I mean, it's, just like his brother.
Am I running the family?
Kind of rough for a minute there, but he brought it back. Gets the submission, a heel hook. When's the last time we saw a heel hook from a fucking heavyweight, man?
It was the last time we saw. This is the last time you saw a heel hook in general.
That's a good point. I can't remember at all.
I wonder if there's any UFC stats on that. Who was the last heavyweight to heel hook? Just get a heel hook in general.
I don't think there's no way we'll be able to find this, but I'm gonna look it up anyway.
There has to be some stat out there, some form of something out there. Who's the last? I know there definitely is one. Well, holy shit, we saw one right there. Ken Shamrock. Holy fuck, that was a long time ago.
The fourth submission. The last one was Cyril Gahn.
You're right. I knew there was one. I could have sworn there was one that was recent.
Cyril Gahn.
Who did he heel hook? I can't remember. I'm trying to think off the top of my head who it could have been.
It was early in his UFC career. Was
it even a ranked guy?
Dontel Mays. October of 2019, he heel hooked Dontel Mays. It's been 5 years
in Singapore
since we've had a heavyweight heel hook.
Damn.
But
I bet you before that it had been a while since we had a heel hook in general too.
Well, I mean, dude, they had Christian Willich up on there, and that motherfucker is old. So that's been a minute. Yeah, man. Shout out Walter Walker picking up the win. Love to see it. Need new blood at heavyweight bad. We'll see if he can continue to improve. Ricardo Ramos, another part of that after party that was lame. Joshua Culibao suffering a split decision loss. Rough night for all those guys, honestly, man. Ricardo Ramos staying alive at 145. Staying alive. Yeah, shout out.
That's how you do CPR right there, dude. Stay
I know.
alive.
I remember from high school. Yeah, shout out Ricardo Ramos. 29 years old, been around in the game for a fucking minute. Still staying alive, man. Love to see him keeping his UFC career alive with that one. Casey O'Neill back on the scoreboard, defeating Lana Santos by
much
decision.
needed out of her because she had lost a little bit of hype.
Domination too, 30-27, 30-27, 30-26 across the board. Jack Jenkins defeating Herbert Burns by knockout. This was the least surprising result of the night.
Yeah, dude.
No offense to Herbert Burns, but
I mean, dude, I'm surprised he didn't get cut after the last fight. This fight kind of is. I mean, it's probably done after this, right?
Bring him back for one more or some shit.
I mean, they also gave him Jack Jenkins. Like, they knew what was going to happen.
Oh, they were set.
This was targeted.
They were set. This was targeted harassment. Yeah.
100%. This was a hate crime.
Yeah, absolutely. Tom Nolan defeating Alex Reyes. Good for him. Poor Alex Reyes, man. Rough.
I wasn't surprised about this.
Not at all. Sung Kinyon defeating Ricky Glenn. Howie Booth.
By the way, a lot of 30-27s tonight. Let's just say that.
Yeah, not a lot of fights that were not very competitive.
Song Kinyon put in the work too against Ricky Glenn.
And then Jesus Aguilar defeating Stuart Nicole.
Sadly missed weight. Had such a good performance, but sadly missed weight.
Yeah, unfortunate. We'll see what he can do at 125. Overall, decent night of fights. Fight of the night, as I said, went to Dan Hooker, Mateus Gamrot. Performance of the night, KKF, Kai Car France, and Carlos Prates pulling off 50K each.
By the way, do you think those were all pretty warranted, pretty deserving?
I'd say so. I would have liked to have seen. Admittedly, I'm a little bit biased because I brought it up earlier. I would have liked to see Walter Walker get a fucking bonus.
Oh yeah,
heel hook or heavyweight. Come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, heavyweight submission in general.
Yeah, pretty rare, but it is what it is. Solid night of fights. Was it everything I wanted exactly?
Dude, wasn't there a heavyweight that tapped to pressure? The UFC?
That was John Vellante. That was John Vellante against Maurice Green.
Like, literally, the guy was on top of him, and he was just like, fuck this, I'm done.
I'm going to double check it. But yes, I think it was like deep in the third round. And John Vellante, who, I mean, if we're talking about, Herbert Burns is still in the UFC because he's related to Gilbert Burns. John Vellante is not related to Chris Weidman, but they were friends for a while. Maurice Green. They said he had an arm triangle choke. There was no choke. There was no choke, brother.
Josh is like, if that's a choke, I choked out my girlfriend last night.
Jesus, I'm not going to say anything in response to that. We got
that was AI that said that.
So yeah, this is shout out Courtside Press. I'm pulling up their recap from 2020. Yeah, Green continued remained in top position, and Green tapped hard, but apparently Green was choking Vellante from the bottom, and he tapped out. Yeah, that's not fucking in at all. that's not fully in. Look at that.
You might have to do some skipping here. Oh my god.
Yeah. Remember when we thought Maurice Green could be somebody in the UFC?
I mean, I don't know. I really don't know.
The crochet boss. I still like Maurice Green. I'm just talking about.
Is he still fighting? I know he had that fight in the PFL.
He had the PFL.
He lost it.
Yeah, he's 38 years old. Has not fought in a year. He got knocked out
by Renan Ferreira.
No shame in that. Losing in the semifinals.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But he's 38 and I don't know.
Hey man, he crochets, brother.
Do you think that makes you cool? Probably.
Crochet?
Probably.
Yeah, shit. As a man, I think that makes you.
By the way, I love how Maurice Green, the track athlete, popped up. Not Maurice Green,
the fighter. I just want to see if he's booked. This motherfucker's 6'7". What a giant dude.
Probably not. I imagine not. If he is, it's probably some Russian promotion.
He's supposed to fight in Game Bred MMA. It did not happen.
Ended up falling through. By the way, he ended up somehow he's done worse in the PFL than he's done in the UFC. At least he went 4-4 in the UFC.
No, that sounds about right to me.
He's 1-3 in the PFL now.
That sounds about right to me. People don't realize just how bad the UFC heavyweight division is, man. Jesus. God, this dude lost to Jeff Hughes.
Dude, he beat Junior Albini though.
He did. He knocked out Junior Albini.
Jeff will fuck you up, goddamn it.
Yeah, man. Anyways, man. I think we should go ahead and move on. Because UFC Vegas 96 going down from the UFC Apex in Las Vegas, Nevada. Although I will say that I actually like I like some of the fights on this card. I think
the main card's solid. You can't take that away.
That's a good way to put it. No issues with it. On that main card, in the main event, we have ranked middleweights. Jared, the Killer Gorilla Cannoneer, still going strong at age 40. Doesn't look 40. Looks like 25 at best. Black don't crack, man. Taking on Kyle Baraglio. Talked about him, man. The young blood at 185. 31 years old. 16-1. A massive nerd. So you love to see that.
If he trades out of that gym, the MMA nerds.
Yeah, exactly, man. And
Or fighting nerds, or the fuck it's called.
Yeah, man. Ranked number
fighting nerds, some shit.
Ranked number 12, taking on number 5. Massive jump for him. But look, man, if there's anybody who feels like they can make that jump, it would be Kyle Barallo based on what we've seen out of him, man. What do you got here?
I'm excited. Obviously, Kyle, like, we know how he fights. He's a grappler primarily. The striking needs some work, but we'll get there eventually. He did KO Paul Craig, but
I mean, a lot of guys have KO'd Paul Craig.
I might be able to. No, I was kidding.
No,
definitely not. Definitely not. Don't have that kind of skill right now. Not yet. Right. Give me a few months. I'll be a killer.
Working on. Got the Muay Thai going on.
Jared Cannonier, dude. I kind of wonder. Like, I don't know when age is gonna hit him. It might have already hit him in his last fight.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest. I'm gonna go Kyle Barallo on this one. I wouldn't be shocked if Jared lost, but the guy is 40, man. I'm kind of thinking, like, at some point we're gonna see, like, okay, this is it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, he is 40. He's coming off a stoppage loss. Now, granted, a very controversial stoppage loss. We have to say that.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, even prior to that fight, man, heading into that one, I remember thinking, like, man, dude, he should, if he's still a fraction of what he used to be, he should be able to get a guy like Evanoff out of there.
Yeah.
And instead, he got stopped himself.
But he's still trucking along. I gotta give him credit.
I'm gonna cautiously take Jared Cannonier. I'm going to very cautiously
respect it.
I like Kyle Barallo a lot. I think there's a massive jump, dude. To go from Paul Craig to Jared Cannonier is an insane jump. Even if you look at his,
I mean, if he loses the fight, it won't be a surprise to me. I'll say that right now.
And even if you look at his prior UFC wins, who has he got? Abu Smagomedov. You know, like he has some other guys who are there who are like, they're okay. But to make Michelle Oliochuk, you know, Makhmud Muradov, he beat Aaron Jeffrey on the Contender Series. Like, he has wins, which are good. But, like, I don't know, man. That's such a big jump. I just think it's too much too soon. So I'm going to go and take the Killer Gorilla to get the win on Saturday. The co-main event, I like this one a lot too, man. Like I said, it is a decent main card. Angela Overkill Hill, 39 years old, still going, man. Not only still going, won 4 of her last 5. The only loss being in there to Mackenzie Dern. Angela Hill will fight anybody from 115 to 135. She doesn't give a fuck. And she's taking on Tabitha Ricci on Saturday. Baby Shark, 29 years old, 10-2 in the UFC, coming off the biggest win of her career over Tisha Torres, now Tisha Pennington in May. You know, prior to that, she lost to Lupi Godinez, but since she came in the UFC in June of 2021, her only 2 losses, Lupi Godinez and Manaforo. Outside of that, unbeaten. Those are no shame in losing to those 2 women. Who do you got in this co-main event here on Saturday?
God, I hate this fight for some reason. I'm not like a big fan of it being in the co-main event. No hate to these gals. I think as a fight, it's good. I don't know, dude. Angela Hill is like such an anomaly.
Yeah.
In this sport as a whole, like, she's been obviously I feel like some of the fights that she had prior to her win streak now where she did end up losing, I feel like she was on the shitty end of some of those decisions. Like, her record probably should look a lot different. And granted, if that did, you know, those fights would have gone her way, the course of her career might be a little bit more different. Maybe she would have ended up kind of in a, you know, at least maybe a title eliminator, maybe a title fight. I don't know. I just refuse to believe that a woman now who's about to turn 40 is going to start peaking and gaining more victories over young fighters. So I'm going to go with Tabitha Ricci hesitantly, which is kind of crazy that I'm picking a girl who's like damn near even in her record, almost 40, you know, like thinking it might, like, she might still win the fight. But that just goes to show the kind of capabilities and skills she has.
Yeah, I mean, Angela Hill is the female Dawn Cerrone. She can beat any contender, and she will lose to any contender. Yeah. That's the reality. People gave Cowboy like shit. I remember like, oh, was he ever really a contender? Like, yeah, he was, dude. Like, he just couldn't beat all the top guys. Angela Hill, literally the same thing. I mean, if you look at her career historically, at least since she came back to the UFC, went off the Ultimate Fighter, she struggled a lot. Since she's came back in, I think, what was it, 2016, I believe? 2017. She lost to Andrade, right? Win, loss, win, loss, loss, win, loss, win, 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 loss, loss, win, loss, 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 win, win, loss, win, win. I mean, she's fucking an anomaly. She's largely lost to top level people, But Tabitha Ricci is not a top level performer just yet. I'm going to take Angela over Hill. No, I mean Tabitha Ricci can absolutely win this fight. I mean, I don't think that's a crazy thing to say. I don't know. I'm still a believer in Angela Hill. 39 years old. She's still going along, man. 4 wins in her last 5. And even though you said she's near 40, women's MMA, they age different. We just noticed that.
You're not wrong.
Compared to men, man. It's a small substat of like data considering women have only been in the UFC for like just over 10 years now.
But it seems like.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at some of the women that have just stayed around, like Holly Holmes, 42 and still chucking along. Like,
but it also could come into like also a factor of like the level at which these
level
women
of
are
competition too. And Angela Hill, for what it's worth, of her last,
because maybe in 20 years, dude,
wins.
it might not be like this. You know what I mean?
That's true. The talent level will get deeper and all that, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I am going to take Angela Hill. On the main card, we have the Ultimate Fighter 32 middleweight tournament finale. Have you watched any of the Ultimate Fighter?
I have not, dude. I was keeping up with it. I will say though, I do think, these guys are going to put up a banger of a fight.
Ryan Loder and Robert Valentin. Ryan Loder is a name I've heard before. 6-1, former wrestler.
By the way, in American on a season that was so diverse too
Exactly.
to get through. Obviously, shout out him there. His opponent though, Robert, he is. I mean, I didn't see his other fight. I saw his first fight. Just watching him on the series a little bit, I am happy that I do know at least something about one of these guys.
Yeah.
Like he looks pretty damn good. He's trained with Valentina. That was a big thing. And he wasn't even on Valentina's team, by the way. He was on Grasso's team.
Okay.
Trained out of Tiger. He's done multiple camps out of Tiger Muay Thai. Single dude. He's an interesting guy. He prays to like those Nordic gods. Like that's.
Oh, I love that.
He's an interesting dude. He looks very fun. I know we're not doing an
it.
official pick for this, but I'm probably gonna pick him.
Yeah. I'll
Yeah.
take Ryan Loder just for shits and gigs. Why
Yeah,
not?
fuck you.
Yeah, why not? Anyways, I
just to keep picking. By the way, you're gonna pick. I know we're not picking this fight, but if you did pick, I bet you pick Neil Magny.
no, actually, no, I would not. Fuck no, dude. Are you shitting?
I'd be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Neil Magny didn't win this fight.
Neil Magny. If you're talking about, I said Angela Hill's still going at fucking 39. Neil Magny is 37, and this motherfucker is still fraud checking dudes, dude. I mean,
He's got the most wins at welterweight.
Correct, the most wins in UFC welterweight history.
How many fights is that?
22, and he's tied for the 4th most wins in UFC history at all. He can move into number 3 with a win this Saturday. Okay,
Is it wins or fights?
Wins.
God.
4th most wins in UFC history. He's tied with Charles Oliveira, Damian Maia, Poirier, and Holloway. So he can move into number 3 with a win here. You know what's insane? He only has 1 fight of the night, which doesn't feel right to me. I thought that Mike Malott fight was a banger. You got
to give him credit.
Philip Rowe was fun.
That many fights in the UFC, dude. Not many guys could do that.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. That just doesn't feel right to me because he's had a lot of the Hector Lombard fight, from what I remember, was a banger too. So I don't know. Whatever.
You see, you got performance in that, but not fight of the night there. I think
37 though, still going.
41 fights.
He'll get his 30th win if he could beat Michael. Dude, hey man, Michael Morales. If he gets the win here, it'd be impressive.
So no bullshit. So only 10 of his fights were not in the UFC.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Which is crazy, dude. I mean, he's been around the UFC. I think his UFC debut is UFC 157, and we're on UFC 306 now.
Good.
Insane, dude. So hoping the best for Neil Magny. Full disclosure, I am rooting for him. I love me some Neil Magny, dude. Like,
but Michael Morales looks like that fucking guy.
Yeah, he looks like a fucking monster, dude. But look, dude, if anybody's gonna do it, you know who also looks like a monster? Mike Malott. And for 2 rounds, he looked like a monster.
I mean, he looked good, but I mean, Michael Morales looks like a different breed.
I agree.
I tout Michael Morales higher at that time before the loss.
Yeah,
before
agree.
the loss. Yeah. Before the loss. Not because I will say this, before the loss, I still would have put Michael Morales higher on my prospects.
I fully agree with you, but still, though, we'll see.
Just like, yes, you wait, baby, just you wait.
We'll see. Hey, man. Also on the main card, Evan Shabazzian, Gerald Mearshart, 2 guys.
Whatever, dude. Will we see the growth in this fight for Edmund? Because he could very well lose this fight.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And Gerald is just a guy that is
another guy. Dude, it's weird. We've been talking about another guy who's just an anomaly too.
Yeah.
Like, how Gerald Mearshart's gonna fight.
I mean, at the very least, Edmund, he's won 2 of his last 3 by knockout, and we know the story with him. The wins are good, but the losses are even worse. He's been mauled in his losses whenever he does suffer defeats. So we'll see what happens.
And also, we didn't see his last fight go outside of the first round. So it's like, is the gas tank still an issue?
Exactly. I mean, he knocked out Dalchik Gangulia and AJ Dobson. Since is that big.
Is he 26? Holy shit.
26.
Holy shit.
Yeah, dude, he was 20.
I just know
He was
eventually.
already
I just know
25.
eventually he can figure it out. Like that's all I know.
I agree with you.
It's just like, when is it gonna happen?
Yeah. As far as the undercard, it's rough, but there are some fights that I care about. I mean, I care about Vyacheslav Borishev taking on James Lionel.
Josie Nunes on the undercard here.
Josie Nunes. Victoria Leonardo taking on Wang Kong, which is
their big signing recently.
Correct. She is the one that rode to the UFC, former kickboxer, 5-0, taking on Victoria Leonardo, Invicta vet, who unfortunately, has had the shit kicked out of her in almost every single one of her UFC fights. She had got a decision winner over Mandy Bohm, who's not even in the UFC. Outside of that, she's been knocked out every single time, including some fucking devastating ones. Manny Farrow put her out cold. Melissa Magato.
And women don't get knockouts very often.
No, she's been knocked out twice by head kick, just to give you a frame of reference. So rough for Victoria Leonardo.
And she's taking out a kickboxer too, right?
Yeah, maybe she'll show up here. But look, man, I mean, as far as the UFC Apex card, this is basically 10 out of 10 for me. I mean, I'm excited about like half these fights.
That's what I'm saying. This is a well constructed UFC Apex card. It's crazy how they can happen.
Yeah, it's well made, and they're supposed to have Roman Kopylov, Bruno Ferreira on here too.
That would have been a banger.
Exactly. So it is what it is. It's a small fight card too, which I kind of like. If you're gonna do these Apex cards, give me 10 fights. If you can make half of those interesting, I'm there.
There you go.
I'm there, man. That's all I need. I need half.
So names and semi-names on the top half and up-and-comers on the bottom half. It makes sense.
It makes sense. They can book cards well. They just don't do it. But then we have this card.
By the way, we're gonna have a week off here soon. I'll be on my vacation, Josh.
He's gonna be on his vacation.
I'm gonna be on my vacation.
Where are you going for the people?
South Kansas.
Kansas.
Somewhere
you're not gonna dock yourself. All right.
No. I can't have people going out there. Coming up.
We got a week off, but then
people are gonna try to fight me for my MMA takes, Josh. You can't do that.
That's true.
But then I gotta dust off that white belt and then show them what's good. Not.
Hey man, you tapped Mike that one time.
Granted, whatever. Regardless, this is a good card though.
Yeah. Then we come back to another UFC Apex card, but it's another one that's actually pretty decent. Sean Brady,
Gilbert Burns. By the way, it almost feels like illegal that those guys are going to be fighting in the Apex.
Yeah, man, and I think it's because Gilbert struggled to be coming off that loss to Bilal, which was a year ago.
Brady, he beat Kelvin, but Kelvin
struggled a lot,
and the Bilal loss was rough,
But now it's one of those things too, where it's like, shit, dude, that's not really bad in hindsight,
And but this fight makes sense though for Brady. I'd say as far as like,
fully agree with you.
I know we're not previewing it, but I think it's a good fight. It was a proper booking.
Agree with you. We'll talk about that fight not next week, but I guess the week after. Anyways, man, we do have a little bit of news. Admittedly, not a lot's really happened. We're recording this on a Tuesday, so a little bit early in the week. Maybe I'm sure more stuff will break as soon as you leave my fucking apartment. That's what happens every fucking week. But until then, we do have a few things to talk about, including we didn't preview this, which I kind of hate, but I'm happy we still get to talk about it.
Mm-hmm. It made a lot of news.
It made a lot of news because of this world that we live in, Angel. Men versus women. It's back in the guys. And
I don't even think it was that. I don't even think the main event was the big thing. But go ahead.
Yeah, the Craig Jones Invitational went down over the weekend. Admittedly, you're more of a jiu-jitsu guy than I am. But I know ADCC going down at the same time in Las Vegas. I believe they were in the T-Mobile. The Craig Jones Invitational in the Thomas and Mack Center in Las Vegas as well. First of all, completely dwarfed them in attendance. This was not on, I believe, ADCC. It was on Flow Grappling. You had to pay for it. Streamed on YouTube. Craig Jones doing it for the people, putting it on YouTube
for charity.
Yes, for charity. We had a lot of great people on the card. They had Kate
I saw them peak at 130,000 views. I don't know if they went above that, but 130 concurrent on YouTube is
correct
for a jiu-jitsu, event.
Very good. Craig Jones Invitational, very entertaining. They had guys like Kate on there who had a fucking incredible match.
You watched it?
I did.
Dude, I think even if you're not a jiu-jitsu, Cade Rotolo, I think it was Cade.
It was Cade Rotolo, yeah.
Versus Andrew Tackett.
I believe that's his name, yeah.
Was one of the best jiu-jitsu matches I watched. They did a lot of different things. There's a lot of rules. So one thing about jiu-jitsu, Josh.
Yeah.
There's a lot of rule sets to jiu-jitsu. There's a lot of different things. There's obviously gi, no gi, different scoring systems, all that. Craig pretty much dumbed it down to where it was like For one, they took from the karate combat. They did the karate combat walls,
Yes, which was sick. I love that.
which worked apparently, and a lot of people didn't know how they felt about it. They didn't think it would add anything to it, but it created more offense between the guys because there was less restarts. Because if you watch ADCC, there's a lot of restarting. There's a lot of coming back to the middle of the mat. You've got none of that with the Craig Jones Invitational. On top of that, they did they did like the 10-point scoring system. Like we do in MMA. Another thing to kind of simplify it, something that I don't think it's ever been done. I'm trying to think. Open scoring, so the guys knew what they had scored,
Which I love too. I love that.
well, I think it works especially for jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
For there's some people who have questions about it in MMA. I think for jiu-jitsu it worked very well.
I think you can literally just do it in parts. It's like jiu-jitsu, it's great. In MMA, it's all right. In boxing, it's terrible. It's like there you go. Like it differentiates from each sport.
I will say I'm going to steal from Luke here. I think if anything though, like on top of it, just having like a big event, like Craig Jones with this event has maybe changed the way that jiu-jitsu might be presented for the rest of the time.
I fully agree
because of how it was done here, and it worked great. And I think, and Craig might have done it completely accidentally, unknowingly, because I think if you do events again like this, and you do the rule set, and you do the scoring like how they did, and all that, I think the outlook as of at least for jiu-jitsu as a sport is on a very positive trend. Yeah. There's a lot of people. There's more people now practicing jiu-jitsu than ever before. There's more people than ever that know about jiu-jitsu that didn't know before. People even joke about jiu-jitsu now in general.
Yeah. I mean, look, dude. Craig Jones has maybe if you can argue whether or not he revolutionized jiu-jitsu in terms of how it's going to be presented, in terms of how they're going to market it and do stuff like that. I'll say for me personally, there's never really been a guy that's drawn me in jiu-jitsu as much as Craig Jones, and because of his personality. He's not like your average MMA fighter or gym bro. I feel like this sport just has a lot of guys who are very generic.
Well, BJJ has a lot of personalities though.
It does, and I'd argue it has.
There's some meatheads. There's definitely those guys.
But there's never been a guy who's as funny and unique about the way he promotes. He chose to go out there and fight Gabby Garcia, who's a woman, four-time ADCC champion, and in terms of the women, obviously, but very big name. He could have faced anybody, and he's like, you know what, this is the one that makes sense. It's going to draw on the most people, and it was a bit of a gamble because it's all right, will this even be competitive? Will this be fun? How will they go about? And
very quickly you saw him sandbagging. You really did,
Yeah, he wasn't going too hard for it.
He didn't even want to hurt her.
No, and from my understanding, isn't Gabby kind of past her prime, and
it kind of seems like that too. But she's still one of the most accomplished women in jiu-jitsu.
Absolutely. And they had other women like Mackenzie Dern. It was the other super fight of the night. Ended up, that was a fucking banger too. You got to give credit where
she ended up losing.
The whole 2 nights were very structured.
Dude,
well.
Someone else who was there who was kind of threw me. Dude, our boy, is it Pat Downey?
Pat Downey against Luke Rockhold, yeah.
Pat Downey made it to semis, I think. Didn't even do that bad, even in a semis match. His Luke Rockhold match is pretty boring, not gonna lie.
Yeah, I agree with you.
But Pat, wrestler, Luke, older,
They got kind of pissed at each other near the end.
It was fun though,
it was fun.
There was some fun to it.
Did you catch any of ADCC, by the way?
No, not really. I know that there was a massive upset. I know Nicholas Maragali got subbed, I believe. I can't remember when. Gordon won his 2 big matches.
Both by decision.
By decision.
Which I saw people were comparing him to Nicky Rod, who had,
Oof.
Yeah, hey, man.
They need to run that one back.
4 subs across the weekend or whatever.
Nicky Rod killed it, but then you could also argue CGI had a small talent pool. ADCC maybe.
Yeah.
And also Gordon were handpicked fights that he wanted to take. Regardless, and also Gordon got reversed, I think, on one of those.
Correct. It wasn't as impressive.
It wasn't as dominant as we've seen Gordon do and it's such
which makes sense because everybody's seen his instructionals by now. I'm sure everybody's he's been at the top for so long. It makes sense.
He's still holding it down though.
He is. Well, I want to see him face Nicky Rod soon. But
I think you should they definitely run it back. I'd love to see it in CGI too.
I would love. It's never gonna happen.
It's never gonna happen.
By the way, the whole thing about the whole ADCC versus CGI, nobody showed up to 80s. Not nobody, but it was probably 20% full, 25%. They didn't need that big of an arena. And they apparently paid John Jones $50K to go sit in the crowd.
And Thomas and Max sold out.
They
were sold out, right?
Yeah, they were sold out from my understanding, from what I heard. Yeah, man, it was a great night. It was a great night for jiu-jitsu. And as a guy who, I can't roll because I will literally die. My neck is so fucked that I just need to get taken down once, and I'll be fucking break my shit, I'm sure. But I was like, damn, man, I should go throw on the fucking throw on the gi and head out, man.
You might have to start rolling, warm up a bit, do some shrimping around.
Exactly. So, hey, man, love to see it.
By the way, the guy they had, I can't even think of his name. The jiu-jitsu guy who did like comedy.
Yes, I can't think of his name.
That guy was awesome.
I liked him. Yeah, some people complaining about it, but
I think the commentary during the match was whatever.
Yeah.
Right? They could have done without it. But I think in general, his presence there and him being added was fucking hilarious.
I agree.
By the way, did you watch the whole interview, the face-to-face, him and Gabby?
You're damn right I did. That dude, I was
Did you
so
watch?
hyped.
You had to watch the video.
Dude,
I feel like the audio did not do it justice.
Did you see all the people who were like fucking, I hate to say it, use this term, fucking white knighting whenever the whole kiss happened, even though it was clearly a joke between the two of them?
Dude, I
Kiss
love
at the weigh-ins.
And then they rewatched it and they're laughing at it afterwards in the behind-the-snes footage.
Exactly. But then people
By the way, I've
online were like,
learned
Craig
that,
Jones need to be arrested.
I learned to pretend to say "porra" and "caralho" a lot.
Hey, look, dude.
So how much is this gonna cost, Craig? Just so the audience,
dude.
Cara, what? It's for free? I'd pay up to $175 for this event. You're giving it out there for free, porra. That's crazy, caray. This is how the guy sounded,
dude. One of my other takeaways coming out this weekend. I gotta say, I love me some Gabby Garcia now.
Dude, she was awesome too. She was a good sport.
She was a great sport.
It got really wholesome at the end, when it all ended and she cried.
It could have easily have been a situation where it was like the joke's on her.
We're still getting the OF collab. We're still getting the OF collab.
Yeah, dude. Shout out Gabby Garcia, dude. She really won me over. Like, as somebody who didn't really know a whole lot about her outside of her wrecking grandmas, like
she's funny. She's
very funny.
I love her personality.
I'll watch what she does next. Hopefully, it's the rematch. She's got to own that fraud, Craig. What if we just have Gabby Garcia keep on?
She didn't tap either, dude. She did not.
No, she did not. She was stuck and she got
because she didn't want to get it leg locked. No heel, nothing. She said she was not going to tap to that shit.
I know, which I really respect, dude. It was a fun.
And Craig, you saw fight. Craig had to switch. He's like, "Fuck, she's not going to tap."
It was a fun match, dude. It really was. Like, you could tell Craig wasn't going 100%, but it was still fun.
It was still fun.
I had a lot of fun with it. Yeah, that's kind of all my thoughts for that whole weekend. Great weekend for jiu-jitsu. Something that wasn't fun, Angel. Something that was not fun. So these two were supposed to fight July 20th.
Josh dropped to his knees at Walmart when he found out this was rebooked.
Yeah, I was at my job and I just instantly fell onto the line, onto the grill. I just fucking boom, burned my face.
Josh is like, I had to have multiple skin grafts after that.
Yeah, I healed up really well for the show today. Actually.
Just as beautiful as before.
Come on, man. Yeah. Anyways, man, Jake Paul, Mike Tyson booked for July 20th. Didn't happen. Officially rebooked for November 15th. They had a press conference at Fanatics Fest in New York City. Jake Paul had a whole meltdown whenever the crowd was booing him, called him a fucking, dumbass Democratic run city or something. Which is funny because does he realize Democrats and Democratic are different things? Apparently not. Anyways, official rebooked. Yeah, Jake, every city is a Democratic-run city in America, man. Are you not with it? Anyway, so, yeah, rebooked for November 15th. I watched this thing, and I feel like whatever juice they had for July, because it was like, the fight was announced, like,
They lost the hype. They lost any sort of hype that they had.
It was announced, like, mid-May, so it's like, oh, shit, it's happening, like, real soon, or whatever. I'm slightly off the time frame, but you get the point. You know what I mean? Like they announced it very quickly to the fight day.
I'm just thinking of all the emotions you got through with this fight because I know that you've gone through much more. But I remember,
because, dude,
I just think about that one conversation. I don't even know if this is recorded, but you're like, I know that fucking asshole is gonna knock him out. I'll never forget that. You're like, I said
that. Yeah, I had the clip.
I remember you're like, I know that fucking asshole is gonna knock him out. And that's why
he can't help himself. God damn it! Because he's like, oh yeah, they're all against me. What are they gonna say when I knock out Mike Tyson? Oh yeah, the same thing that I would say if I saw a random man on the street beating up a senior citizen. I wouldn't want to see it. Jesus. The man almost died on a plane. He had a bleeding ulcer. And dude, he's 58. That could kill you.
Josh, you don't know though, Josh. You never watched Mike Tyson back in the day.
Yeah,
you don't know what he's capable of.
Yeah,
did you see him after prison?
Did you see him knock out Larry Holmes in 1988, brother? Like, come on, dude, get the fuck out of here, dude. I'm so tired of it. I'm done with the shit. We're gonna talk about it here, but we're gonna talk about it in July. But then once he knocks him out,
like, it's almost been 30 years since that happened.
Dude, here's the thing. You know what's funny? Is during his whole rant, Jake Paul's rant about he's like, you guys are a dumbass Democratic city. You're just like Mike. You were better 20 years ago. Mike wasn't good 20 years ago. That's the thing, Jake. He was already washed 20 years ago. He lost to Danny Williams or whatever, who was like finished his career like 58-30 or some shit. He was losing to Journeyman 20 years ago. That's who Mike Tyson was. He was out of his prime by the time he faced Holyfield, which was 30 years ago. Because he's a fucking 60-year-old man, Jake. That's it. That's why. Jesus. So, yeah, and this press conference was just a shit show, man. Like, they were trying so hard to promote it. Jake was going off on Mike.
Didn't Mike lunge at Jake?
Which, because Jake pushed him, and then Mike pushed him back, you know?
Mike's like, rawr.
Yeah. Mike was like, I'm going to fuck him up. You know, they were trying to promote the fight.
He's going to fuck him till he loves him. If you know, you know.
You know, you know. You couldn't last a minute in my world, you bitch.
Scared like a little
white pussy. Oh! I can say it as a white representative on the show. You're representing Mexico. I'm representing the whites, you know?
Scared of a real man.
You scared of a real man, you coward. Just damn, Mike. You got to bring that out.
God, that rage was scary.
If he brings that out, he might have a heart attack.
Could you imagine being there and that happened?
And 20 years ago, I'd be a media member, so I'd be doing what I'd be doing now. I'd be like, oh shit, Mike's taking fucking.
What if you were like front row and that shit was going down? Would you be terrified for your life?
No, I'd be like, fucking, it was him, dude. Get that
motherfucker.
That motherfucker right there did it, not me, dude. Don't look at me, Mike.
That guy who camps.
Mike, you know me. Shout out that guy who camps. Yeah, man. Look, I don't have anything else to say, but yeah, it's like, dude. They're trying so hard. And Jake's like, you're too old. We had to postpone the fight because you're old ass. And it's like, yeah, man. He's fucking 60 years old, bro. What do you want? Like, come on. What are we doing here? Like, what are we doing here? Okay?
You wait, Josh. Just you wait till you see Mike Tyson go in there with Jake.
Dude, in a few years, he's going to be cashing Social Security checks. And that's just not right.
He could be cashing Social Security checks now.
Dude, it's just depressing. It's depressing. And we'll see what happens. November 15th. Do you want to go down to Dallas for that one, Angel? Do you want to see that one live? Apparently they're dropping ticket sales. That's what I've heard.
Dude, we might have to make a trip, dude.
Might have to make a trip. Watch Mike Tyson go out, and I'll blow my brains out on the way home.
It'll be one of the only times you'll get to see Mike Tyson fight live, Josh. Come on.
So we have another fight announcement that's actually a fight that I care about.
But can you pull up this whole card just because I think Dana announced all these fights and we should
probably so this is UFC 307, Salt Lake City, Utah. Salt Lake City, in case you guys are curious, made a deal with the UFC about 2 years ago, which is why about once a year now they have a banger card for, it's like, why the fuck are they in Utah and putting on the greatest card of all time? That's why.
We talked like, what was it, like a week or two ago about how this was looking chalk because they only had Raquel Pennington and Juliana Pena. I think maybe at the time rumored for this.
Yes, so that one was rumored for this. Raquel Pennington, Juliana Pena, and then I think they'd also had Kevin Holland, Chris Curtis, and then Jose Aldo was rumored to be fighting against somebody, but we didn't have a name.
And then Chris Curtis fell out recently too.
Chris Curtis fell out,
and this card was looking very bare bones, very rough.
But here we have.
And then Dana went and dropped a fucking nuke on us. Hiroshima'd our ass.
Hiroshima'd our ass with the main event of Alex Poatan-Pahea against number 8 ranked Khalil Roundtree. God, they fucking hate Ankalaev, huh?
But we need to talk about that as well, Josh.
Yeah.
I don't even know if we talked about that last week or whenever that got announced. Magomed Ankalaev will not be fighting Alex Pahea.
He will be fighting 2 weeks later, UFC 308, against Alexander Rakic. So, look, dude.
Go off, King. Go off. I know you want to cook.
Look, I don't.
Do you want me to even step out of the frame? I think we might have to go solo frame for you.
I just put the camera on me. Here's the thing. It's not a sport. I'm sorry. We are in WWE Attitude Era style booking. Okay. This is the thing, right? Angel, this is no joke. I was gonna make this comparison on the show before, but people get angry anytime you bring up wrestling and MMA, and they pretend they're not close to the same thing, and that MMA just has characters like they're pretty much everything is the same except the fights are real. Okay, that's the same shit. In the 90s, the Attitude Era happened, which was where WCW and WWE were going head to head. They were doing all this crazy shit, and it boosted the ratings. It boosted the ratings so much. And because it boosted the ratings so much, they didn't really know what to do to recapture that. So they tried a lot of different things, and they just couldn't get the momentum back. And it took until this year, really, for wrestling to sort of gain a lot of popularity back. I feel like the UFC from like 2016 to 2020 was their attitude era period, and it feels like they don't know what the fuck to do now. So like, oh shit, Conor was a big star. We had him fight a lot. Let's just do the same thing without Spirit. Let's just run a similar playbook, and we'll keep him as champ however long we can. So instead of fighting Magomed Ankalaev, who is 20-1, fought in a title fight 2 years ago now and fought to a draw. You know what they normally do? They rerun the fight. They said fuck Ankalaev, and now Alex Pereira is champ. He's won multiple fights since then, including by knockout. They're booking him against Alexander Rakic, and they're giving the fight to Khalil Roundtree, who's ranked number 8, who's coming off a knockout win over Anthony Smith. Angel, if getting a knockout win over Anthony Smith was what was needed to get a title shot, Magomed Ankalaev did that July of 2022. July of 2022, Angel. So, look, I don't know what to say about it. Here's the issue. I fucking love the fight. I love the fight. Insert it into my fucking veins. I love it. Yeah, exactly. Insert it into my veins. But not under these fucking circumstances, man. Come on, man. We don't gotta do this. We have a ready-made fight. We have a ready-made number 1 contender against a dominant champion. Why are we not getting that fight? I want to see Ankalaev. He may not even grapple with him. The guy's made terrible decisions fight IQ-wise in the past. I don't know. But thank God we got Raquel Pennington, Juliana Pena on the undercard because
Woo!
I know. Hey, man, the Venezuelan vixen coming back here, man.
It'll be nice to see her again.
I'm an unabashed Juliana Pena fan. I don't give a fuck, dude. You know why? Because she tries. All the women at 135, and I like Raquel Pennington.
They're just there.
They don't promote the fights. Juliana Pena is up on Ariel Helwani's show like every 2 months talking shit about like, yeah, Kayla Harrison's, on PEDs and Ronda Rousey, you ducked me 10 years ago. She's just saying whatever the fuck. And I'm like, hey, Juliana.
Wrestling beats judo.
Yeah, dude, she's talking all this shit. And I'm like, you know what, man? I love me some Juliana Pena. She makes fights with anybody. She'll talk shit about anybody, So I kind of like that. Raquel Pennington, we know the story there. Won the title back in January. Very deserving champion. Do I care about her fights? Like, as an entertainment factor?
She had that massive upset, man.
She's had some good wins. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, she's a great fighter. I think that's the issue. She's a great fighter with an uninteresting style. And she got the title at a time when she only is just her window to get it. And I think she'll probably lose to Juliana Pena, to be quite honest with you. But she got the fight, got the title shot, and the one opportunity was her last time she could possibly do it. And she got it, man. And there's no issues with that. So
Mayra Bueno Silva didn't show up, and she skidded past Caitlin Vieira.
Upset. I don't know if it's upset or Aspen Lab, but she handed her loss. She's on a 6-fight win streak, and good for her. Only one finish in that, and she only has 3 finishes in the UFC total, and over a decade of a run. But look, maybe this fight will be good. Juliana Pena, for all of her faults, maybe she'll give it her all. She'll give it her all, and she'll put on an entertaining fight. Both Nunes fights were bangers. She's had. I even remember liking her fight with the worst champion of all time. I can't think of her name, Nico Montano. A couple of years ago, they had a banger, man. It was a banger fight. Nico Montano, man. Shout out Nico. Hey, man, really killing it. I remember it was like, oh shit, she's the first Native American UFC champion. And then she never.
I think it's because she even fought and trained out of her reservation, right?
Yep, that's why. Yeah,
that was a big thing.
Very cool, very cool. And then just instantly fucking. But anyways, so as far as the rest of the card, Wonder Boy Thompson, Joaquin Buckley,
great
banger.
Fight.
Oh my god, out of nowhere. Jose Aldo, Mario Bautista, banger.
By the way, Jose Aldo, like no slouch, taking on a ranked fighter, I believe, right?
Yeah, man. Ranked number 12, dude. Since he's come back, he's facing these guys that are just young dogs that like not a whole lot of guys want to face. Mario Bautista's on a fucking run right now.
Not at his age, man. The guy's 37, and he's still doing the damn thing.
I know, coming off a win over Jonathan Martinez, another young guy.
The guy is an alien. He needs to be studied.
I agree. Roman Dolidze taking on Kevin Holland. Roman Dolidze stepping
in
Chris Curtis.
Another short notice for Roman Dolidze. But at middleweight, though, this time. That's
Roman is a dog. Is his nickname actually the Caucasian?
This is new information to me.
There's no way that's real. There's no.
We shouldn't put that out there just because.
There's somebody on Wikipedia that says Roman Dolidze's name is the Caucasian nickname.
I know Tapology is usually right with him. You can always look up on Tapology.
I'm gonna lose my mind if Roman Dolidze's nickname is nickname is actually.
I could have sworn I've seen something different before.
Holy shit, it's actually the Caucasian.
What the fuck?
How did we not know about this?
I didn't know either. This has to be new.
He's trying to get that Sean Strickland fan base, man. He's trying to fucking just...
If you know, you know.
Oh, man. Yeah, I didn't know that. That's crazy. Anyways, he's taking on a black man in the form of Kevin Holland. Trailblazer, we know the story here, man. Coming off a win over Michelle ELYXR. Needed that one.
Active as ever. Third fight this year.
Yep. Love it, man. Love it. Aljamain Sterling, Mozart, Iliev. We knew that one was happening.
But I mean, we got to talk about it now. It's official. Obviously, we're not going to get into all crazy details. But Josh, I mean, one of the most important fights in all of the UFC right now, I think, that's going to be that is scheduled and we know is going to happen because, dude, if he gets through Mozart Iliev, you might argue title shot next.
And if Mozart beats him,
I think it's title shot next
for both guys. Honestly, I mean, if you look at 145 at the moment, I think Volk needs to beat somebody before getting a title shot. I'm sorry to Volk. The guy's a champ, an all-time great, but it needs to be the case. Brian's booked against Diego
unless
Lopez.
Max becomes champion.
If Max wins, it upsets everything.
It changes the whole playing field because then Volk could get a straight title shot.
Yeah, but Brian and Diego are booked, and I think if Diego wins, he won't get a title shot.
What a
Brian
weird
does,
thing. A quadrilogy under those circumstances.
And could Max finally? I mean, I think he beat him in the second fight.
I thought he beat him in the second fight too.
Most people do, honestly, but still, I mean, that'd be interesting, man. That'd be interesting. Yeah, man.
And then Kayla Harrison on there too.
Oh yeah, Kayla Harrison back for the first time since dominating Holly Holm. I thought for sure,
which is nice. We got one more fight out of her in the year.
I know.
It wasn't just a one and done. I'm so happy about that.
And it's perfect that they booked her because if she gets a win here, she could fight for the title, presumably whenever the winner of Raquel Julian is ready. Because
against a game opponent though, Kaylin Vieira is no slouch. I think the issue with her is just shining, man, and showing that because she has. I mean, the way she's physically, how she's built, she has power. Like there is some level of power behind those hands. Like she has everything to have success. It's just a matter of actually getting it together and projecting that on fight night.
I remember when she came to UC and she picked up a couple.
It's so frustrating,
and she beat Kat Zingano. I'm like, man, she's definitely a future champion, and she'll get right there and then she'll lose. Like she beat Kat Zingano. If she beat Aldana, she would have got a title shot. She lost. She beat Sajara Eubanks, probably would have beat Yana Kunitsai, would have got a title shot. She beat Miesha Tate and Holly Holm. Terrible decision on the home one, but regardless, and she needed to beat Raquel Pennington. Definitely would have got a title shot. Then she lost. Beat Piana Gadzad heading into this one now. And if she beats Kayla Harrison, definitely get a title shot. Will she get
back in the mix again?
Know. And then we have some other fights that have been added to the card, but not officially announced, but have been rumored or announced by another publication. Marina Rodriguez, Asman Lucindo. Great fight. Cesar Almeida, Ilhor Pateria. They're kind of setting up Ilhor there, I feel like. And then Carla Esparza in her retirement fight against Tisha Pennington. The couple fighting on this card again.
By the way, it could be a happy or sad night for the couple, too.
It really could be. Tisha Pennington still looking for her first win since having her kid. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, man, UFC 307, this card on paper looked like, all right, we're dead in the water. It's over. GG, but they brought it back. It's an excellent card. And I mean, I honestly think it's better than UFC 306, to be completely honest with you. Maybe even it's a fucking excellent card.
It's looking like it's going to be better.
I don't think it's better than 308.
Oh, no.
But
no.
It's better than, I'd say it's honestly better than 306. 306 just.
And it's not better than UFC Noche.
That's what I'm saying. UFC Noche. I think it's better than UFC Noche.
You think it's better than UFC Noche?
I think as a whole, yeah.
I gotta disagree.
I think
because of how the fights, the kind of way these guys are gonna fight, and the kind of quality.
That's fair. I just think UFC Noche is very top heavy.
On paper, I mean, there's a lot of guys I personally.
Yeah,
maybe I think that's also the thing too. Yeah,
that's fair. But anyways, man, anything else we talk about before we go ahead and close out here?
I'd still that UFC Noche is better.
That's the only thing you have to say. All
yes,
right,
that UFC Noche will be better.
We'll see. We will see because
it will be card of the year.
We're only a few weeks away.
Bold prediction live on air.
Sphere. Yeah, we'll see. Anyways, man, I don't got anything else left to talk about. We'll see UC 307 in October. Gonna be the card of the year. And it's
you.
Salt Lake City, dude. Yeah, great city.
In the Sphere, Sean O'Malley, Merab Davashvili in the event. You guys will see that card will end up being pay-per-view of the year.
We'll see. Anyways, man,
it will take UFC 300 throne.
No fucking, definitely no way for that one. Definitely no way.
Really?
Yeah, no chance.
You don't think anything can take UFC 300 thrown away?
I think it's gonna take a lot, man. You really got to think about UFC 300.
Dude, you are a cocksucker.
You really got to think, man. Like,
It's
come on.
okay.
It's gonna be close. I can see UFC 306 doing it, but I think it's gonna be tough to do.
It will. You'll see.
But we'll see.
Because of the fights that will happen on that card.
Maybe. Anyways, man. I'm at Josh Evanoff on Twitter. He's at Angel Ortega _01 at Courtside Soundoff for all things related to the show. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. We'll be back next week with some form of a show because there's not a UFC card. But hey, we'll have a recap and all that stuff. Hope you guys enjoy this one. Peace. We're out.